Hello everyone, welcome to the Lifestyles Medicine Podcast. Today we take you to Peterborough in Ontario, Canada, where we recently had our final session for Blue Health Peterborough. Blue Health Peterborough is a community program put on by Pathways in partnership with the Peterborough Seventh-day Adventist Church. The goal of the program is to help educate people on the healthy lifestyles of the Blue Zones. Today we are going to take you to the final talk of that program. By combining science with inspiring stories, you will hear our medical director encourage the participants to continue living the Blue Zones lifestyle. If you or a loved one are on your own health journey and are finding it hard to stick to a healthy lifestyle, we hope that this information and the stories shared during the talk will inspire and encourage you. So let's tune into the talk. Alright, so we're going to get into our little talk today. So today, we're going to step away from the Blue Zones since we covered that for the last 5 weeks. And we're going to just discuss some ways that we can keep on practicing the things that we've learned. Because that's always the hard part, right? Especially when we leave a program. So that's what we're going to do. And hopefully you will find it to be useful. To study this, we're going to look at something called the National Weight Control Registry. All right. Now, this is a registry of over 10,000 people, and essentially, it's basically Americans who've had serious weight issues, but they were successfully able to lose the weight and also keep it off. All right. So they kept a registry of these individuals, and they've studied how these people have successfully done it. So we're going to take a look at that. Now, even though you may not be interested in weight loss, I think the principles are still very applicable to everyone who's going on a health journey. So I hope that you'll find it to be useful. But to give you an example, these people, they've lost on average 30 pounds and they've maintained it for at least 1 year. But most of these individuals have lost way more weight and have been able to keep it off for 5 or more years. Okay, so these are what we call weight loss champions. All right. And so let's take a look at what these guys do, and I think you'll find it to be useful. All right. So number 1, they stick with the nutritional plan. Okay, they stick with the nutritional plan. So essentially, these people, they don't once their weight loss program is done, they don't leave the program. They stick with exactly what they've been doing during the program. Okay, so I'm sure that some of you, or all of you, have been making changes in your diet and your nutrition. So I want to encourage you to keep on doing that. And especially, of course, we want to encourage a whole foods plant-based diet, right? Whole foods plant-based diet. So here, this is Eric Adams. All right, Eric Adams, he's the president of the Brooklyn Borough. And in 2016, this guy, he noticed that he was having vision problems. He's also experiencing tingling in his hands and his feet. Okay, but as like a typical male, he decided that he'd suck it up. But then, on a trip to Israel, he started to get excruciating pain on his side, and they took him to get examined. He was having a stomach ulcer, but the doctor was more concerned with his hemoglobin A1C, which was 17. Now, your normal is below 6, so this guy was extremely high, 17%. And the doctor actually commented saying, "I'm surprised you're not in a coma." He went to 5 doctors, and each of the doctors said that he should take insulin, right? And that his health issues, so the tingling and his vision issues, are going to be permanent. That's what they said. But he wasn't very keen on doing insulin, so he decided he'd try lifestyle. So he went on Google, and he typed in the word reversing diabetes. And he found 2 things. He discovered Dr. Cottle Esselstyn. He's big on plant-based nutrition. So Dr. Cottle Esselstyn, and he discovered the documentary Forks Over Knives. How many of you have seen this documentary, Forks Over Knives? You should definitely watch it. All right, and where they discuss plant-based diet and things like that. And so he went and he watched the movie several times and took notes, and he eventually transitioned to a whole foods plant-based diet. He cut out all flour, cookies, chips, all that kind of stuff, cakes. Within 3 weeks, his vision cleared up. Within 3 months, his hemoglobin A1C dropped to 5.7. Now that's stunning, to go from 17 to 5.7. His tingling disappeared, his blood pressure normalized, his cholesterol also normalized. Okay, so this is him before. I'm gonna show you him afterwards. Okay, this is him afterwards. Is that amazing? Okay, he lost tons of weight as well. Okay, this is what he says. These days my mind is clear, my energy level is amazing. And he says, at the heart of it all was my diet. My plant-based diet is the number one reason that my diabetes was put into remission. Okay, so just like Eric Adams and just like those people on the National Weight Control Registry, we can't emphasize the importance of sticking with the nutrition that we talked about during the program. All right, so I want to encourage all you to keep on going towards a whole foods plant-based diet. So when they looked at people in the National Weight Control Registry, they do a few things consistently. First of all, almost without fail, all of them eat breakfast daily. Okay, they all eat breakfast daily. They're on a generally lower fat diet, right? They don't go to a restaurant very often, so they go about less than one per week, all right? And as you can see, they actually eat a very low calorie diet as well. Okay, as you can see, it's not like a starvation diet, but generally lower calories, all right? So this is what people who successfully lost weight and maintain their weight loss, this is what they do, okay? Now, another thing that they noticed was that these guys don't have cheat days, okay? So now we're not talking about Christmas and Thanksgiving. We're talking about just generally. So some people, they say, I'm gonna go 6 days a week, I'm gonna go clean, but then one day I'm gonna go eat whatever I want, right? When you look at people in the National Weight Control Registry, they actually don't do that, okay? They actually they stay very disciplined with their diets, all right? So I think that's important as well, okay? Number 3 is to stay active, all right? Is to stay active. That's obviously a no-brainer. Okay. Now, when they looked at the people in the weight control registry, this is the pattern that the researchers have found. They generally burn 2,000 calories or more per week. Moderate to vigorous, we talked about that, right? They also walk daily as well, all right? This is Tatyana Long, right? She struggled with the various health issues, including lots of anxiety, acne. She had reflux, high cholesterol, sinus infections, just all sorts of issues. And she couldn't even walk up the stairs without losing her breath or needing to catch her breath. So lots of serious issues. Even though her husband told her that he loved her, she knew that even he was getting very, very concerned with her health. Well, she stumbled upon Forks Over Knives. So I want to really encourage you to watch Forks Over Knives if you can. And basically that set her on a course to radical lifestyle change. And she decided that she'd also start exercising as well. So she started to do occasional runs. Her husband became her personal trainer, and she went on a fully whole foods, plant-based diet. And I want to show her what she looks like now. This is her now. Isn't that amazing? She lost 25 pounds. The GERD went away. Cholesterol, all that stuff normalized. And the amazing thing is that her anxiety virtually is now non-existent. That's amazing, right? But as you can see, exercise had a huge role in that as well, okay? So stay active, right? We talked about that, and I'll just encourage everyone to really take that seriously, to really continue living an active lifestyle. Now this is interesting. Keep monitoring, all right? What they noticed with the people in the weight control registry is that at least at the most every few times a week, okay? This is very important because sometimes you hear people say don't measure your weight. That's just gonna give you anxiety. But actually, when you look at the people who've successfully lost weight and who've kept it off, they actually keep measuring their weight quite consistently. So monitoring your weight, and if it's not your weight, blood pressure and all this kind of stuff, continue to monitor is very, very important. It's gonna keep you motivated and keep you kind of on track. All right. Now this is a very fascinating one. They noticed that people who try to lose weight, if they hit the 2-year mark, it gets easy after that. Okay, now I'm not sure exactly what it is about the 2-year mark, but essentially, if they could be successful for 2 years, it becomes very easy after that. Okay, so yeah, try to hit the 2-year mark. All right, so that's very fascinating. Okay, and this will be number 6. Practice self-control. All right, continue practicing self-control. Okay, So, for example, have an accountability group, and of course, Jen and this church, they're going to keep on running some groups. So, I want to encourage you to get involved in what they're doing. But having some kind of accountability structure is very, very important, right? And of course, we talked about moais, right, with the Okinawans, right? Having that is very important to keep yourself accountable. I think just depending on yourself is not really going to help you because we're all very weak, right? So having accountability is going to be very, very crucial. Okay, and for those of us who believe in God, we always know that when we feel weak, that God can help us. Here in the Bible, it says, "He gives power to the weak, and to those who have no might, He increases strength." So in moments of weakness, we can always reach out to a higher power, to God, to give us the strength that we don't have within ourselves. And number 6 is to keep on learning. Okay, so I hope that each of you learned a lot during the past 5 weeks, right? But I want to encourage you to keep on learning. There's so many different resources that are out there to help you continue to learn. Example is this documentary here. How many of you have seen or heard of this documentary? How many of you have seen this documentary? So for those of you who don't know, this is a newly released documentary. It's about plant-based nutrition for athletes. So they look at some high-performance athletes and how they're transitioning to a plant-based diet and why it's healthier for them. But as you can see here, Jackie Chan, James Cameron, Chris Paul, all these big names are involved in this documentary. So especially if you know some men who are not really catching on to this whole plant-based thing, you can make them watch this and I'm sure that they'll be converted. But yeah, there's a lot of documentaries out there that talks about healthy lifestyle, and I think continue to learn is going to be very important. Okay, do you know Michael Greger? He has a new book coming out, How Not to Diet, and he had a book previously. It was called How Not to Die, right? Now it's called How Not to Diet. But he basically talk about evidence-based weight loss, where he talks about plant-based nutrition and so forth. So there's like all these resources coming out, and I want to encourage you all to tap into these things and to continue learning. Continue to learn, I think, is very, very important. As you continue to learn, you get actually more motivated. It's very interesting how it works that way. And number 7, share what you've learned. I want to encourage you all to continue to share with others who don't know this stuff, to continue sharing with people. All right, so I'm going to just close up with this story here. This is Adam Sudd. In his 20s, he became addicted to fast food. And he had depression, anxiety. He also had ADHD. He was put on Adderall. He gained 110 pounds. And at his highest, he was 320 pounds. And he actually checked into rehab where they did some blood work, and they actually diagnosed him further with heart disease and with type 2 diabetes. But they remembered learning about whole foods, plant-based nutrition. And so he decided that out of desperation, he'd try that out. Now, I just want to tell you what happened. In 6 months, he essentially reversed his type 2 diabetes. He lost 170 pounds, and within a year, he got off all his medication. He was on 5 different medications. I want to show you what he looks like now. Wow. Is that amazing? Yeah. And this is him running marathons now. So the power of lifestyle medicine is amazing. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you just simply make lifestyle changes and stick to them. All right. So I want to encourage you all to practice the things that you learned and to continue doing them, and I'm pretty sure you see amazing results. That brings us to the end of this episode. We want to thank the Peterborough Seventh-day Adventist Church for hosting Blue Health and congratulate all the participants who successfully completed the program. We wish them all the best on their health journey. To stay up to date on the latest episodes, remember to subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, and Google Play Music. Also remember to leave a 5-star rating. Thank you for tuning in. We hope to catch you next time. And until then, remember, your lifestyle is medicine.